Call the meeting to order, call the roll.
Trustee Healy.
Here.
Trustee Katsinas.
Here.
Trustee Malani. Trustee Compass.
Here.
Trustee Reardon.
Here.
Trustee Raniszewski.
Here.
Mayor Peacock.
Here.
Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Approval of the April 1st, 2024 Committee of the Whole minutes.
Mr. Mayor,
Trustee Katsinas.
I move to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of the Committee of the Whole of April 1st, 2024.
Second. Call the roll.
Trustee Katsinas.
Aye.
Trustee Healy.
Aye.
Trustee Compass.
Aye.
Trustee Reardon.
Aye.
Trustee Raniszewski.
Aye.
Mayor Peacock.
Aye.
An ordinance revising Chapter 18, video gaming of Title 7, Business and License of the Orland Park Village Code and making the other changes relative to video gaming within the village.
Mr. Chairman,
Trustee Compass.
I move to adopt an ordinance entitled, an ordinance revising Chapter 18, video gaming of Title 7, Business and License of the Orland Park Village Code and making other changes relative to video gaming within the village.
Second.
I helped spearhead changing this and making things a bit more restrictive, make the timelines a little longer, because what we're experiencing in the mayor's office, and I think also the village manager's office, is a very, very aggressive gaming industry, and very aggressive in trying to, I see some head nods from our attorney, things like they want gaming in gas stations, they want gamings in grocery stores, and we've heard from a grocery store, well, we can't make it without I'm like, then you're in the wrong business. We did this, I was here when we did this. I was the only one that was here when we did this. It was we polled it, 800 people, 400 to 400. It was that split in town. It was very challenging. The vote was 4-3. Morally, I have no opposition to gaming. I do, however, think that approving gaming in the state of Illinois was bad. I think anytime a state goes to sin taxes, it's not a good idea. It's usually a sign that you're screwing everything else up. But we were in a situation where we're surrounded by it, and we had businesses that were losing patrons because they're going right across the street, literally, to go get gaming. So we crafted this in such a way to help our small restaurants, our family-owned restaurants, because we know how high the tax burden is, particularly on LaGrange Road, and so that was the goal. It's been successful. I think the way we crafted it, we haven't had any issues. There have been no criminal issues whatsoever. We've had no complaints whatsoever. We're not seeing gaming stuff all over. We do see that in Orland Hills and some of the other towns, but we don't see it here. The same thing is that we want to make sure that we said we want to make sure that these could transfer on sale because we don't want people to lose the value of their business. But I think by extending the amount of time where they have a provisional license for 2 years as opposed to 6 months, makes them, staying on straight and narrow for 6 months is a lot easier than 2 years. It also pushes away those places that have no intention of actually operating as a restaurant in the long term. And I don't think we've had any of that, but we've certainly had some of those inquiring. And so they'll suck it up and act like a restaurant for 6 months, get the license, and then they'll turn into, a Dottie's or Betty's or one of these little gaming operations. I don't think we want that. So this basically creates a longer wait for a new restaurant of 3 years, also a longer wait for any restaurant, anything that's sold. It will not, as drafted, it's not going to impact any of our current gaming operators or those that are in the queue that have already come forth. So we looked at that pretty hard too, because we didn't want to burden someone that had, say, purchased a location with the expectation that in 6 months or whatever, they were going to have most of them would have been pretty close to that at this point, right? So we wanted to make sure that we didn't add 18 more months to their wait. So, Ann, did I miss anything else on that? No, that's pretty good summary. Okay. So, but that's why we're doing this. And clearly, I don't think anyone on this board disagrees that this was done to help our small mom and pop restaurants. I heard that, well, if we we make more money on a machine than, in 20 minutes, we have to sell 100 heads of lettuce. Well, are you in the restaurant, are you in the grocery business, or are you in the gaming business? So if you want to be a casino, go invest your money in casino. If you want to operate a grocery store, operate a grocery store. So that's kind of our philosophy on that. So, any other comments? Call the roll.
Trustee Compass.
Aye.
Trustee Katsinas.
Aye.
Trustee Healy.
Aye.
Trustee Reardon.
Aye.
Trustee Radiszewski.
Aye.
Mayor Pico.
Aye.
Non-scheduled citizens and visitors for agenda-specific public comment.
Oh, yeah, we missed that. I know we have 2 here for an agenda-specific comments, but we're going to wait until the agenda item and let you speak. Okay, Chief? Does that work? Because you didn't sign in, did you? It's supposed to read your mind. So we'll let you speak when we get to that. Anybody else here for any agenda items? We didn't have anyone signed in, did we? Okay, great.
Henderson Mark E dump bodies with plow packages and FSH V-Box spreaders purchase.
Mr. Mayor,
Trustee Reardon.
I move to recommend the village board to approve the use of Sourcewell contract number 080818-HPI for the purchase of 3 Henderson Mark E dump bodies installed with plow packages and FSHTM V-Box spreaders for $157,319 each, for the cost not to exceed $471,957.
Second.
Joel, does this replace the last of our underbelly plows?
Yes.
All right. We had an item later this board meeting that an honest, simple, it was a mistake, not an intentional mistake, that cost us a fair amount of money because of the underbody plows, but we'll no longer have those, so it should alleviate that from potentially happening. Call the roll.
Trustee Reardon.
Aye.
Trustee Radiszewski.
Aye.
Trustee Healy.
Aye.
Trustee Katsinas.
Aye.
Trustee Compass.
Aye.
Mayor Pico.
Aye.
Schussler Park Restroom and Storage Building.
Mr. Mayor,
Trustee Healy.
I move to recommend to the village board to approve the purchase of the Ramtech multi-purpose restroom and storage facility through Ramtech utilizing Sourcewell contract number 081721-RMT at a cost not to exceed $319,056.83, and recommend approving a contract for the installation and other associated fees expected not to exceed $350,000, and authorize the village manager to execute all related contracts subject to village attorney review.
Second.
So just a summary of this. This is the restroom we were always planning to add out there. And because we've not used the contingency, we're able to use that contingency money to add something we're going to add next year. So we're just adding it sooner since we have the money available in the budget to do that. Is that a good summary?
Right on.
Okay. Any comments? Call the roll.
Trustee Healy.
Aye.
Trustee Reardon.
Aye.
Trustee Katsinas.
Aye.
Trustee Compass.
Aye.
Trustee Radiszewski.
Aye.
Mayor Pico.
Aye.
An ordinance establishing a new Chapter 25 Prohibition of Kratom, novel synthetic, and psychoactive drug businesses of Title VII Business and License of the Orland Park Village Code.
Mr. Mayor,
Trustee Katsinas.
I move to recommend to the village board to adopt an ordinance entitled, "An Ordinance Establishing a New Chapter 25 Prohibition of Kratom, Novel Synthetic, and Psychiatric Drug Businesses of Title VII Business and License of the Orland Park Village Code."
Second.
George?
Mr. Mayor and the Village Board, as you may recall, in 2023, the Village Board approved an ordinance prohibiting synthetic cannabis. And that was in response to an influx of synthetic cannabis that we were finding in the community. That ended up being very successful. That has really reduced that product. So what has happened now is we've seen, next slide, please. What we've seen is an increase in synthetic opioids. It's really something that's kind of gone under the radar. But as you're driving around now, and in my situation, you'll see Kratom a lot of places. You'll see CBD and Kratom kind of, right next to each other. And CBD is the Delta 8. When they're advertising CBD, they're not advertising the non-THC CBD. So Kratom is a tropical leaf native to Southeast Asia, and it's totally unregulated. States have tried to regulate it, or there have been attempts to regulate it. The FDA is currently in the process of trying to get it banned. But it's a synthetic opioid. Last year, the state of Florida, not the state of Florida, the Tampa newspaper conducted a very comprehensive review of this, and they found that hundreds have died using Kratom in Florida. So next slide. Similar to what we did with the synthetic cannabis, this ordinance would ban synthetic opioids. It would ban the sale, it would ban the manufacture of this. And our ordinance is going to try to stay ahead of the changes. 10 years ago, they were bath salts. They were advertised as weight loss products. And so the chemistry has changed, has shifted to where they try to stay ahead with loopholes. So our ordinance is very comprehensive. Ann from KTJ did a very good job putting that together. We used an example from the city of San Diego, who put in place an ordinance many years ago. So if the board approves this ordinance, then we would get information out to convenience stores, gas stations, which is where these are sold unregulated, and to a potential manufacturing facility that we have in Orland Park of this product. Next slide. So that is what I have. Ann, do you want to add anything?
Purpose of the purpose of the ordinance is to try to stay ahead of designer drugs where chemical compounds are synthesized to be just slightly different enough to fall into a gray area or a loophole in emerging law. We saw that same thing with cannabinoids where THC would be acted upon with synthetic processes to become just different enough to be not considered cannabis, or they'd use THCA or THCO. Similarly, Kratom and some of these other novel psychoactive drugs are being potentially synthesized in order to stay ahead of the law, and what we're trying to do is trying to cast a wide net to cover all of these synthetic processes to make sure that we don't have any of these psychoactive intoxicating substances being manufactured, distributed, or sold within the village. I mean, the manufacturing itself is another risk because you'd have chemical processes occurring to act to create these substances, and that is basically unregulated and could also create a danger. So we're trying to address those issues in the interest of the residents and businesses of the village.
And just to also, we're talking about synthetic, talking about Kratom, but there are other synthetic opioids out there. One of them, tianeptine, is also referred to as gas station heroin. So it's something that is unregulated. It is readily available at convenience stores and gas stations. It does sound crazy that something that has the potential to have such important health risks would be sold at a gas station. But again, if this ordinance does pass, it would not be allowed in Orland Park.
Mr. Mayor?
Can you hold on one second? Trustee Healy, I think we have two people to speak on this. Am I correct? We'll give you latitude to speak for more than 3 minutes, Chief, but keep it.
It's not going to be easy. Good evening, everybody. Mr. Mayor, trustees, I'm Chief Schofield, Orland Fire Protection District. In 2010, I started a program called In the Blink of an Eye, and that was to fight the heroin epidemic and opioid epidemic that arose quickly in our community. I started doing classes and teaching at local schools and high schools because the heroin and opioid epidemic started up so quick and took hold of this community, not only Orland, but the entire region. Some people find it hard to do the right thing, or being the first to do it, or leading the fight to do the right thing. This board here has proven they're never afraid to do the right thing. This proposed ordinance is the right thing to do to protect our community and our youth from synthetic drugs that are being manufactured. Now, the Kratom community is going to come up and say, Kratom is nothing more than an herb. It's just a leaf found on a tree in Asia. Well, if you look at it that way, poppy is just a plant. Coca is just a plant. Until it's refined and manufactured into a substance like heroin or cocaine. Kratom is an addictive substance. It should be considered a controlled substance. There's a reason why it's sold in gas stations and smoke shops and convenience stores, because they target a certain audience. Kratom has many side effects and has been proven to be extremely addictive. It's been banned in 32 countries, 6 other countries listed as a controlled substance. 6 U.S. states have now banned it, including Indiana and Wisconsin. This new ordinance not only addresses Kratom, but other future synthetic drugs that will be manufactured. And more importantly, this ordinance takes the product out of Orland Park. And it shows the region why Orland Park is the best place to raise your families. And now, without these synthetic products being pushed in our faces. I have with me retired police chief John Roberts. John has led the fight against opioids since 2009. Nobody's been more proactive in the state of Illinois than Chief Roberts. John, would you like to say something?
I wasn't prepared to, but I have to. I admire and respect and support this man just like he has me since I lost my son Billy at the age of 19 in neighboring Homer Glen. And thank you, Chief. Yeah, I made a pledge. I didn't want to see another family go through what my family went through. And because I'm a police officer, I know what to do. Go and help people. But you know what? I've been doing this work now for 15 years, and I'm so alarmed at the products that just keep coming to market. At some point, our nation has to say, no, it stops, and it stops today, like you are planning to do, I hope. Yeah, I tell people all the time that we've lost the last 3 years 100,000 people to drug overdoses. 70% of those are fentanyl, but you know, the sad part is there's another 20 to 25 million people in our nation right now who have a substance use disorder that is so bad they require professional treatment. The nature of the disease, 90% will tell you they don't need the treatment, but experts will say they do. So you know, I named our organization the Heroin Epidemic Relief Organization. We are fighting an epidemic. We've been fighting an epidemic for 20 years. I thought after fighting a pandemic we would do better, but I beg you to please approve this ordinance and be a leader and show other communities. And that's what the Hero does. I was at Lewis University early today. I'll go anywhere to fight this fight. I know what it's like to lose somebody that you love. because they were led astray. And by the way, I wrote an article the other day that for kids, teens, I mean, 90% of those 20 to 25 million start as teens. And typically with teens, you know, they can't go into a liquor store and buy liquor. They find the things that are available in their environment at their age, and that's how they get started. Kratom is one of them. We don't need gas station heroin. There are too many people with too many products, and our kids are paying for it in the worst possible way. So, and I'd like to thank all of you too, and the mayor and the council, but I've been to all of the schools in Orland Park. I'd like to come back. I'm going to be making calls to all of them, but I'm pushing ahead with that new state law, and we don't charge. That's how important this is. I'll go and talk to any child and tell them what they're doing to their brain when they engage in these type of activities. It's extremely dangerous. And I literally tell people I pushed away from my computer when I read that line, the article in this article, that one line in the article that 90% of the people in this country who are addicted started as early teens. We have to do what Mike and I have been doing for years, and I would beg you to work your magic and make it happen. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Trustee Healy.
Mr. Mayor, I have a couple questions. Is it, we cannot, after this ordinance, if we approve it, you cannot sell that product here, but is possession of the product, is there, when the police pull a car over and there's that in the car, is that?
And how's that written?
The ordinance does not criminalize possession. Currently, statewide, possession is criminalized for anyone under 18. So that would remain obviously in effect if somebody was pulled over that was a teenager and had it, that's illegal already. But this ordinance does not criminalize possession because it's in the business and licensing section of the code. So the way that we're choosing to address it is by shutting off the source. So shutting off the sale, distribution, manufacture, or delivery of any of this product.
Is it possible, do we plan on fining those retail outlets that sell it?
Yes, there is a fine. Yes, absolutely. There is a fine set forth in the penalty section. And according to the schedule of fines in the code, that could be anywhere from $250 to $1,000.
And then ultimately, they could lose their business license.
Well, I'd make the fines higher. I don't have a problem with that. So just to, get this, make it doubly costly for these people to get rid of this stuff. And I also have a question. Does our neighbor to the southeast, Orland Hills, are they banned this, or are they still marketing this at that retail store along LaGrange?
I don't know what they're doing in Orland Hills, but I do know that we are one of the first communities in Illinois to ban the synthetic cannabis. And I would venture to guess we're probably the first community to ban the synthetic opioids. So the odds are that they haven't done anything about it, just because it really has gone under the radar.
So I will tell you, if you look at Orland Hills, I don't think, if they can find a way to monetize it, they won't cancel, they won't stop it. So I'm not going to, speak for them, but their history shows, I don't think you have to go very far to see. They have a little different philosophy than Orland Park when it comes to this stuff.
Well, I hope the chief can use his influence over that section of his area. It's ridiculous.
And then we had someone else sign in for this, so since we've already started, I'll let James Surik, and you have 3 minutes to speak.
Hello, my name is Jim Surik. I represent a Kratom company here in Illinois. I'm based in Lisle. I came to you here to advocate for a separation on your bill for Kratom. And the reason why I urge you to do this is to table the decision for now, while the state of Illinois looks to pass the Kratom Consumer Protection Act, which is actually in legislation right now. I think it would address most of your concerns. There will be a limit, an age limit to Kratom. There will be a way to hold manufacturers accountable to Kratom, but to blanket ban it without understanding how the herb works, I think it's a mistake. Just to push it through without understanding it. I firmly believe that decisions regarding the health and wellness of individuals shouldn't be left to the town or the city council. These matters are best addressed at the state level, where a broader perspective can be taken into account. The Kratom Consumer Protection Act is almost pushed through legislation as we speak. Any questions?
Yeah, we don't really engage back and forth with you, just give you an opportunity to make your comments.
Okay. All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Mayor,
Trustee Katsinas.
if this were to go in effect, would it be immediate? Would it be in a couple of weeks? I mean, how do we handle, and if there's any manufacturing that's going on, how do we handle that, George?
It's immediate. We did that immediately when the synthetic cannabis was put into place. We will, the process like we did with the cannabis now is we would just go to the locations where there's a high likelihood that this is being sold. We'll give them information, and then we will follow up after a week or so, and then in person. All this is in person. And if they are selling, then they get cited. And then with, as far as the manufacturing facility, they will be contacted immediately. And the facility where we think exists right now is without a business license, so they will get stickered, no occupancy.
Thank you. And also, I'd just like to say, I remember when Chief Schofield in 2010 started in the blink of an eye. There were people in the community and people on this board who gave you a tongue lashing for bringing this out to the forefront. I certainly remember that, and I know you do. So I just want to say thank you for doing it then. Thank you for coming to the meeting now. Your commitment to the public is demonstrated. You have demonstrated it in folds. So thank you, Chief Schofield.
Just to be clear, none of the people that gave him a tongue lashing were on the board that are on the board now.
That is very true.
Mr. Mayor,
Trustee Reardon.
and we can, as a village, we can be more restrictive than whatever the state has in the works, right? I mean, you know, we do that now. There's state laws that allow certain things to be sold that we, as a village.
Cannabis is a good example.
Yeah.
We have home rule authority. We don't allow it here. So
Yeah.
I would imagine if this is, the state of Illinois is doing a lot of stuff to take away home rule authority. That is a place they have not crossed yet, so I would
Correct.
assume they are not going to cross it. If they don't cross it for cannabis, I can't assume they're going to overrule.
The version that I've seen that's pending does not have home rule preemption language in it. Of course, it's subject to any kind of amendment, and I also don't know that it's, imminent in terms of being passed. So the form could change. But nothing I've seen now has indicated that home rule authority will be preempted.
And that preemption language, sometimes, if, for example, the penny push tax on gaming, when that went through, if the municipalities had it in place before they put in restrictions on that, they got to keep it. And even when that was challenged recently in court, that was upheld.
Yeah, that's no brainer.
Any other comments? So I'll make a few comments. So first, I empathize. I don't have a family member, but I had a very good friend when I was in the Air Force. I was probably in about a year, and that was pre-cell phones, 35 years ago. Call home and find out that somebody I played softball with, they found him in his house or in his apartment, surrounded by cans of empty Freon, from huffing Freon. And that obviously was used for car coolant, right? So this has no use other than as a drug. Me personally, I know the board feels this way. We don't trust the state. We don't agree with the state. That cannabis is a perfect example. I think when you dive down into sin taxes to try and make your money, you're already broken as a state. We don't allow cannabis dispensaries. We don't allow medicinal cannabis. And I do believe, and I think most people on this board believe, that cannabis has some medicinal benefits. But if they were interested in medicinal benefits, it would have been through pharmacies like every other medicine. The reason they set it up as separate standalone is because the goal was always to broaden the industry and get it out to the public and target children. It was always that. And that's where we're at today. So if we're going to, if this has medicinal benefits, it should go through the FDA, figure out what it's good for, and it should be sold through pharmacies, like anything else, not through gas stations. That's usually a pretty good indicator, and other locations. I'm glad we're staying ahead of this because we need to be ahead. God only knows the opioid crisis. We're not ahead of it. We know there's hundreds of thousands of people dying coming across the border. We do not need another synthetic, and there'll be another one after that, and there'll be another one after that, because they just keep staying ahead of the law. This is the same thing we saw with the cannabis laws. So, I mean, here's a really good example. Anyone not think there's a problem with oxycodone? And that actually goes through pharmacies, and by and large has doctors that prescribe it right? But we still have a problem because not every doctor follows that. So we're going to allow, instead of letting doctors do this, and we still have a problem when we have doctors involved in it, we're going to allow the mobile station and BP and Circle K to sell it? I don't think so. So we need to stay on top of this. At the end of the day, this is being sold to kids, just like cannabis, just like it. That's what's happening. We know it. Our police see it. We see it all the time. Not saying that every place that does this wants to sell it to kids, but we know that that's what's happening. We also know that the places where we're having issues with this, we've had issues with all the different synthetic cannabis in the past. I mean, it's, you know, they just move from one to the next, and it'll be the next one after that. So at the end of the day, as long as I'm mayor, I think as long as you guys are on the board, we're going to protect our kids. That's what we're going to do. So absolutely 100%, this is a no-brainer. Call the roll.
Trustee Katsinas.
Aye.
Trustee Compass.
Aye.
Trustee Healy.
Aye.
Trustee Reardon.
Aye.
Trustee Radiszewski.
Aye.
Mayor Pico.
Aye.
Non-scheduled citizens and visitors for public comment and items relevant to village business.
Do we have anyone here that wants to speak to the board who did not sign in?
Mayor, I know I'm new here, but I taught pharmacology. Why do they need the opiates?
So can you, I can't answer that
Relieve
question, but what
pain.
this isn't.
Pain
So
could be physical,
hold,
mental.
can you please hold on a second? I'm going to give you the rules because you weren't here before. So we're not engaging in a conversation back and forth, okay? You can make your statement. 3 minutes is what you have. If you could please give us your name, if that would be very helpful for us for the record. You don't have to. Be great if you would.
Could I continue?
Yeah, you can now, yes.
All right, opium's from the poppy plant, which God made as a very strong analgesic. Why do these kids or the people reach out? You should find the source. What is the pain that drives them to a proper drug compared to cannabis? Cannabis definitely is used to make fences, not to blow the mind. Ask your authorities. The police can tell one that's under cannabis. I would look to see what the people are doing here actively, causing a desire to relieve pain. I know you looked, your eyes looked up. Well, I'm a vet nurse, and I took a vow for life and righteousness. Search what the cause is. It could be emotional. It could be lack of proper parenthood. Well, I would say don't stop it. The pain continues. I'll look up too. I got your message.
Okay. So are you
No,
done?
you're not. No. Well, I took a vow.
Is there anyone else here that would like to speak?
No, you already showed eyes. Don't bother with her, but I won't stop fighting for you.
You can come up and speak.
And attacks on my wife here. Her name's Memphis.
years old. I've been taking natural kratom for over 10 years. It's helped with my sleep, it's helped with my pain. It is not a synthetic drug. If people adulterate it with chemicals and whatnot, it can be a synthetic. I'm all in support for age restrictions. Heck, I'm in support of 21 and older age restrictions. So I just wanted to share my testimony. It's helped with my sleep and it's helped with my pain on and off. I'm a healthy young man. I work as an implementation specialist. I've been taking kratom on and off since 2008, and my blood work is fantastic. So I just wanted to share with you my thoughts and my experience. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Is there anybody else here that wishes to speak? Okay.
Mr. Chairman,
Trustee Compass,
I move to adjourn the committee of the whole meeting.
Second.
call the roll.
Trustee Compass.
Aye.
Trustee Katsinas.
Aye.
Trustee Healy.
Aye.
Trustee Reardon.
Aye.
Trustee Radiszewski.
Aye.
Mayor Pico.
Aye. We're adjourned. See you in 22 minutes for the board meeting.